So, what is design thinking? You might have heard those words before. You've probably heard the word design and you've heard the word thinking, but it's a very specific way of thinking about creating products. And products can be objects. Somebody created this pen. It also could be a service. Somebody came up with the idea for Uber, and that is a product. It's something that they designed and figured out how to do, and they make money off it. It also could anything that you would pay money for. Somebody designed it, and design thinking is how they go through specific steps to think about you as the customer, as the user, and think about what you are going to need so that their product is the best for what you need. So, some examples. Okay, Sharpie highlighter. It's wonderful. But somebody invented these very specifically. Once upon a time, when I was a lot younger, markers were just tubes. They didn't have that indent that you see. And so sometimes, especially for little kids or older people, anybody with arthritis, it was hard to get the cover off because your hand just kind of slid off the end. But now it curves in and it gets bigger towards the outside. So when you squeeze, your hand is actually catching on that a lot easier. Also, they designed that this fit in here so you don't lose it. In the design thinking process, they really thought about the problems that an average person would have with a highlighter, and they solved it. And they solved it in a way that looks pretty snazzy. They didn't just put like a handle on there. Sometimes it's something as simple as a coffee cup. Somebody had to design these covers so that they stack nicely at the gas station. They also designed it so that the cup is wider at the top and smaller at the bottom so that when you're holding it, you're less likely to have it slip because there's hot liquid in there and it could burn you. So design thinking, how are we going to make this look good but also function for the person that we want to buy our coffee? Because if every time you go and buy coffee there, you spill it, you're not going to keep buying it there anymore. And sometimes it's because design thinking is art meets invention. Sometimes it's more about the invention. Sometimes it's more about the art. So a cup could just be plain old, boring cup, but somebody designed this. They were trying to make it more interesting and pretty. So we have the design on the outside, and then when you are drinking, you get a sneak peek at the bird on the inside. So design thinking, it's art meets invention, and sometimes it's more of one and more of the other. This article will be posted on your learning guide, and it's a lot about how design thinking is about problem solving. You have to go through a process of revising and working through it, testing products, asking people what they think, and it really is a user-focused way of inventing products. There is an understanding of how you go through the steps of design thinking, and empathy is the first step. Empathy is when you think about how other people are feeling, and not just about like their emotional state so that you can be kind and supportive of them, but how do they feel about their highlighter? How do they feel about spilling their coffee all the time? What things do they say and do and think about that problem, and how can you use that to make a better product? So after you empathize with those customers or users, you combine all of that and figure out what really is the essential problem. What is the problem with a cup that people drop all the time? Then ideate. It means come up with lots of ideas, add a handle, make it sticky, all sorts of things that you could do to those coffee cups to make it not spill. Some of them, awesome ideas. Some of them, kind of kooky. Once you get a lot of ideas, you figure out which ones are better than others. Prototyping is making a mock-up. Sometimes it's an actual first draft of a coffee cup or whatever you're making. Sometimes it's just really in-depth drawings and samples of materials and things. You test it either by giving someone the product, or sometimes it's just talking to them, saying would you buy this? And then once you get your feedback, sometimes you have to go back, fix some things, but then you get to put that vision into practice and make your product, which usually ends up having problems of its own. And so then you start the process all over again to make a better and better product. So design thinking, it's where the creativity and innovation of art and making things look awesome and express your point of view meets engineering and creating a form that works for the people that are going to use it. Okay, I hope you enjoy your design thinking.